Korean was literally the only foreign language in that was actually growing.
Yeah.
And everything else is either flat or dropping.
안녕하세요. This is Mark Peterson with the Frog Outside the Well Research Center, and today I'm with a good friend, an old friend, not as old as I am, but old enough.
You're feeling old.
This is Ross King, who is the preeminent linguist and Korean language educator in North America.
Thank you. 안녕하세요.
Indeed. You did your undergraduate work at Yale,
Yes, I did.
PhD, MA and PhD at Harvard.
Yes, in linguistics.
Ross does a lot of great work in Korean language education, and he did his PhD work in a very interesting area.
I worked on Korean dialects preserved in the former Soviet Union.
In Russia.
In Russia. Well, I was in Kazakhstan a lot, and Russia.
Yeah, the Korean community that were moved there by Stalin.
Yep, in 1937.
Mainly Hamgyongdo people.
Yes, but mainly north Hamgyong, quite far north. Yeah, which is an area that is understudied linguistically.
Really?
Yeah, we don't, well, for obvious reasons. I mean, there's just, you can't really do field work there, so.
Yeah. 안녕하십니까.
Right.
That's right.
Although they don't really much use the she, actually. Yeah.
안녕하두.
Yeah.
안녕하두.
Yeah. Well, they say alhamdu. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where does Korean language education sit in America these days? You're concerned about Hanja 교육.
I am. Well, so, I mean, big picture is things obviously have improved vastly since when you started learning Korean, and then, I started in the early 80s. It was mostly self-taught because very few programs even like Yale didn't have Korean when I was an undergrad, right?
No.
So I taught myself. Obviously, in the intervening, 3-4 decades, things have improved vastly. So at this point, Korean literally, as the MLA, the Modern Language Association, they put out every 3-4 years these statistics showing the enrollments. And I think Korean, as of the last set of statistics in 2016, we're still waiting for the new ones to come out because COVID delayed it all. Korean was literally the only foreign language in that was actually growing.
Yeah.
And everything else is either flat or dropping. But even so, that in these statistics, this idea that Korean is so popular, everybody loves us. The Korean press really has a field day with these statistics.
They love us.
But there is, I think, a flip side to it, which is that. Okay, yes, they've improved, but as of 2016, 15,000 students were studying Korean at university in North America, which is the most it's ever been, and yet it's barely 1% of all enrollments in foreign languages. So, before the Koreans get too excited about this, there are some sobering sides to it. So barely 1%, and the other interesting thing is that it's number 11 in terms of ranking. I think just behind either Russian or Latin. So in other words, if there's a bit more push, if there was a bit more kind of long-term investment, Korean could be like in the top 10 languages studied in the United States, which 30 years ago you and I would never have dreamt of. No, right?
Not at all.
So that, on the one hand, great, but on the other hand, couldn't Korea be doing more now? I think now's the time.
Now is a golden moment with K-pop and all the popularity.
Absolutely.
To really seize the moment.
Yeah.
So we need support.
Well, and the other thing, keep that number in mind. 15,000 students studying Korean in North America as of 2016. But what's the Duolingo? The app on the phone.
Yeah.
So as of October last year, 11 million users registered for Korean. 11 million.
Really?
Yeah. So I think that those two numbers kind of tell the stark gap between demand and what the infrastructure can handle. So my pitch is we don't have the infrastructure we need to meet the demand. And that includes scholarships, it includes bursaries, it includes more properly funded language teaching positions that aren't just sort of 시간 강사, right?
Yeah.
Where they could lose their job, from one year to the next.
We're so much better off than we were when you and I started.
Absolutely.
But we could be so much better.
We could be so much better if the Koreans got their act together on language spread policy.
How do we compare with China and Japan as far as infrastructure support?
Oh, far behind.
Really?
Far behind. Like decades behind. Absolutely.
Really?
Well, so another statistic that I love to kind of remind people about is that in 1972, the Japan Foundation was founded. And in 1972, the Japan Foundation gave 10 different American universities each a gift of $1 million in support of Japanese studies, like as an endowment.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward to today, 2016, like 60 some years later, when the Korea Foundation makes a gift in the United States, it's about that. It's about 1 or 1.5. If you're really lucky, they might give you $2 million. And they do it maybe twice a year, right? However, $1 million in 1972 in today's dollars
is
$6 million. So, if you think about it that way, and they kept doing that for more than a decade.
Japan did.
That's the Japan Foundation. In addition to which, Keidanren, the Federation of Japanese Industries, so the Mitsubishis, the Sonys, the Toshibas, they did the same thing. And so Japanese studies has this incredible infrastructure in place. So after the economy tanked, it's still it's ticking along just fine.
And people are losing interest in Japan, but the structure's there where it can work.
Yeah. So, but we don't have that.
And you talk about the industries, the
Yeah.
Japanese industries.
Yes.
Are the Korean industries doing anything like that?
No. Meaning Guseg, zero.
Zero?
Zero.
Samsung?
So, no, absolutely. They're the worst. I think just recently.
Where's Samsung?
I know. No, they are the worst. They are very, shall we say, abstemious, very cheap.
Really?
And they're basically, let me put it this way. So you know that I run this Korean language village, right?
Yeah.
I founded this Korean language village for young people 7 to 18.
Concordia Language Villages in Minnesota.
Yeah, so it's called Supsoge Hosu. And about 5 years ago, one of our donors, really remarkable guy, runs a company here in Korea, makes luxury handbags, name's Kenny Park. He, kind of out of the blue, took us by surprise and gave us $5 million just one day. Said, here's $5 million.
Really?
You need to build your own year-round language village.
Yeah.
Now think about that for a minute. That is literally the single largest one-time gift for overseas Korean studies made anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And was it covered in the press in Korea? Did you ever hear about it?
No.
No, zero, nothing.
Why?
No one, because they don't care. There's this sort of real lack of kind of even interest or concern on this
They're
front.
proud of the growth of the language, though.
Yeah, but
that hits the press.
But you would think they should be shouting that from the rooftops.
Yeah.
And no one knows about it. And it's still to this date the single largest gift. And he's given more since then. So we're up to about 8.5 million, and others have donated as well.
And you're building a year-round center.
Yeah, it's a village. It's a year-round village.
Really?
And so phase one will end. We'll move in next summer.
You've done great work with that Concordia language.
Yeah.
I was going to say language school.
No, not a school. Yeah.
It's not a school. It's a village.
It's a village. Yeah. School is not fun. Language villages are a blast.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And that's why they come back. So you don't just
Really?
go once. Our kids come many years.
Really?
5-year villagers are very common.
Really?
No, absolutely. Even 10-year. We've had some 10-year villagers.
Get out of here.
No, absolutely. They come start at age 7, they go up till age 18. 10,
Really?
11, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if a student out there is interested in the Concordia Language Village, how do they find you?
Just go online and type in Korean Language Village and it should pop up. Or in Hangul, Supsoge Hosu, the lake in the woods. They're all called Lake of the Woods.
Yeah.
It's one big system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Concordia does a great job.
It's
with
lots of fun. Our kids, but so to bring it back to kind of North American Korean language programs, here's a problem we've had at the Language Village. We have a 4-week, so what we call a 4-week high school credit program. So the kids come for 4 weeks, and in 4 weeks, they do the equivalent of 180 hours of high school Korean, and they get credit for it. The credit comes from their school, but we give them all the
certificates.
Sort of documentation, and most schools give them the credit. So then if you do that for 3 or 4 summers, some of our kids will do that 4 summers in a row,
Wow.
the high school credit program, which is it's pretty academic. Then what do? They say, okay, I'm going to university. I'm going to choose a university where they have Korean studies.
Yeah.
Most of our kids make their choice based on whether or not the school has Korean. They go to school, opening day, they go to take their placement test for Korean language. They place into 3rd year or 4th year Korean,
Really?
and the classes are canceled because there are no students. Yeah. And so, we're almost doing too good a job. We've had a number of cases where kids reported, oh, I'm here, but there aren't any courses for me because they only offer first or second year. Or,
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
We're making great progress, but we've still got a long way to go.
The infrastructure is still very weak. And so, that's my I'm harping on this idea of infrastructure.
Infrastructure. And Hanja Kyoyuk. Let's talk about Hanja Kyoyuk for a minute. I'm big on Hanja Kyoyuk. I believe that
So am I.
Hanja is essential for most studies, and it's a great vocabulary builder.
Absolutely. And the reality is that the peers of the students that we teach, both here in South Korea and in North Korea, in fact, more consistently in North Korea, have always learned Hanja as part of their education, one way or another. In North Korea, consistently, at least 1,100 characters before they graduate from middle school. Unlike South Korea, where it's
we've lost that.
Yeah. Well, and lately it's not. But there's still lots of other resources. There are even companies now in South Korea that are requiring Hanja exams.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's Hanja 능력 시험. So even outside the school system, the school system itself is kind of messing it up because of this kind of what I call script nationalism, 문자 민족주의, this idea. 한글만 해야 된다, which I think is nonsense. And no one's saying we have to, use Hanja in daily life, because, like I say, even in North Korea, kids learn Hanja in school.
We always talk about North Korea did Hangul, pure Hangul first.
But they've actually been better at Hanja.
They do the Hanja.
They do, because they realize 60-70% of the vocabulary is based on that.
And South Korea is so bad on this. I was talking with some junior high school students on my last trip here, and I asked them what their names were in Hanja. They didn't know.
Yeah, that's sad.
One of them looked at another document she had and then wrote it out for me in a real scratching format.
Yeah.
So Hanja Kyoyuk, how do we improve Hanja Kyoyuk in America?
Well, I don't know. I'm preparing. I have a textbook and I'm working on a website. So I'll have my little contribution, which is essentially teaches over 2 semesters kind of the first 500 kind of basic characters along with the vocabulary and example sentences and this kind of thing. And so I teach that at UBC, and so far it's going pretty well, but I don't know how to get everybody else to
It's an uphill battle. The AATK people that I know,
they're not interested.
No, they're not interested in that. They teach pure, pure.
And I think there's also, I think the brutal truth is that most of them don't have the confidence to do it. Because here's the other thing about, I love our colleagues who teach Korean language with us in North America, but most of them, if you look at their backgrounds, they come out of ESL.
Yeah.
Right? They never did 국어, 국문, 국사, nothing. And so they just don't kind of have that even predisposition. And I think that's an issue.
Yeah. You and I at AATK meetings are odd fish.
Village cranks.
The cranks. Here we are talking like a couple of old curmudgeons. But we've seen it. Yeah,
for sure. And but the thing is, when I teach it, the students actually find it fun. They like it. They love it. It is, even at Supsoge Hosu, which is kids who are barely learning Korean. There will be these 동아리 sort of parts of the day where you pick an activity, and some will go and do 도자기. Some of the kids actually go and do Hanja. And
really?
they learn like 1 through 10. They learn, the 5, elements. And then they get up in front of the whole village at dinner time and show them what they learned.
That's
and
wonderful.
They love it. Yeah.
Well, in Korean folk tales, in Korean traditional literature like Hongildong and such, the hero is always a bright young kid. It always starts with his birth.
Yep.
And he always is so smart that if you teach him one thing, he learns 10.
Right.
Which is a way of saying you learn Hanja, you learn one vocabulary.
10 words for free, or at a discount. Anyway.
For free at a discount. That's funny. Okay, well, that's our take on Korean language education. Optimism with the K-pop wave, but pessimism on the infrastructure that supports it.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. Thanks, Ross. Good talking with you.
Good.
We'll see you next time.